There is so much lore when it comes to the iconic Cars 2 villain based on a real-life pacer. And yeah, I'm sure you've guessed it by now. That's Acer, who we'll be reviewing today. It's his first time being released from Thailand. It's kind of a big deal because, well, it's also Acer's first release in 10 years, and any version's release in 9 years. In 2016, we got Acer with helmet and a 2-pack with Grem with helmet, and in 2015 just a regular version of Acer was released as a single in the Tokyo Party series. Now when it comes to Acer versus Grem, who will be released in the next case, and we'll be reviewing him as soon as he comes out, guys, don't you worry. Acer actually has one more version, 6 to Grem's 5, and you're looking at all of them here, plus a couple prototypes, plus a canceled release. It's absolutely insane how much there is to Acer, and it just feels wild that his last release was 10 years ago. It's like aging me right now. It's like, well, Cars 2 wasn't that long ago, right? Well, yeah, Cars 2 was actually 14 years ago, and yeah, Acer hasn't been released just regularly in 10 years. That's insane. That's also why when people ask, like, hey, Mr. Dockett, when is, you think maybe Brian Spark gonna be released next? And we have no idea. It could not be. It might not be until 2031. It just goes to show with how many characters there are now, some of these cars might not get re-releases for a long time, even the more significant ones, like Acer here, who is one of the more supporting high-level characters in Cars 2. But enough rambling. Like I said, there's a lot of lore. There's a lot to talk about. Acer here came out of 2025. Singles Case S. I just unboxed it. I'll leave the link in the description below. Definitely check it out. I also already reviewed the new car from the case, Jonathan Gearson, but I feel like a lot of people will actually be preferring Acer. Acer might be selling even quicker than Jonathan when it comes to it, but we'll see. And yeah, that link will be in the card session pop-up. It just feels so good to be giving Cars 2 some attention. Cars 2's getting to that Cars 1 level nostalgia. Not quite there yet, but it's about there. And I feel like as time has gone on, we look a little bit more fondly back upon Cars 2 than during its initial release, where a lot of people were upset at how much it diverged from the first movie and how much or how little racing was really a part of the movie and all that. But it introduced a lot, it expanded the universe, and I'm happy that it is the way it is because it gives us something different to kind of dive into within the Cars universe. And as for Cars 2 here, it's been obviously, as you can see on the card back here, just underappreciated and underserved, with only Otis in Cars 2, Acer. That was unnecessary to say. Only Otis and Acer being the Cars 2 representatives in 2025 through 5 cases. No World Grand Prix racers, not even Lightning McQueen with racing wheels. That's how bad it is, guys. Now, last year they did do Holly Schiffwell and Finn. They've done those a little bit. A couple years ago, they did Tubbs Pacer and Vladimir Trunkov, and that's all great. I'm happy about that, but Acer and Grem are the meat and potatoes. They really represent the Cars 2 villain group, even Professor Z a little bit, but I'd say to a lesser extent just because he's so tiny. He's almost like a pity. I much rather get Grem and Acer, and that's exactly who we're getting this year in back-to-back cases, so you can kind of have a little bit of continuity to it. But let's open this guy up. Perfectly mint card. I'm going to do it anyways. I did in the last video with Jonathan. Who cares? Hopefully I find them. But they're going to be popular, let me tell you. Here we have Acer out of the package, looking very glossy, very shiny for a car who gets his tires dirty literally and figuratively. But while I show you guys several images of where Acer appears in Cars 2, I mean, he gets a fair share of screen time. Like I said, he's a high-level supporting character in Cars 2, and yet he went 10 years without getting a release. That's absolutely absurd. Could we see something where maybe Sterling goes 10 years without getting released? Because I think their characters are kind of on a similar tier. Maybe Sterling's a little bit more prominent, but they're both kind of like supporting villains. I don't know, just a thought there. But either way, Acer, lots of appearances. There are a few of them. I want to get back to the whole idea of variants and lore. So he has one more version compared to Grem. Now, which version would that be, Mr. Docketer, if they all kind of got, hand-in-hand releases, eye for an eye, Acer with helmet, Grem with helmet, Acer in trouble, Grem in trouble. Well, Grem never appeared in the movie with the torch. Now, this actually would have been a 7th version for Acer here, because the version with torch that they did in 2012 looks like such here. This here on the left is the canceled version that was going to come out 2016 or 2017, probably 2017, that has a phenomenal expression. You guys know I love cars with eyes looking off to one direction, not looking down the pipe, and it has this up and down movable visor, just like the predecessor Jerome Ramped here, who also has pretty much the same expression, kind of begging the question, like, was this version of Acer almost basically a prototype for Jerome Ramped? I don't see how that's really possible, just because of the fact that why would your prototype look exactly like another car? I don't know. I mean, Acer's dirty. It's not like he's perfectly clean or anything. There's a lot that went into it. He was never on the poster for anything. So, again, lore. Lots of lore. Point being, Grem never got a torch release. So that's why Acer has one more, and could have even had 2 more if this version didn't get canceled. It's one of the easier canceled cars to acquire. I remember back in the day, it was on eBay for the longest time for just like 40 bucks. So yes, if you missed out on it, yeah, I mean, don't feel too bad about it, but things like that would eat away at me. The other interesting thing with Mr. Acer here is that out of all the Cars 2 characters not named Mater and McQueen, he pretty much has the most variations, which is absurd, right? That is crazy. Like, what? Acer is like the most variations besides Mater and McQueen? Yeah, I mean, Finn McMissile's like up there and kind of tied with him. Like, are you going to count the Lights and Sounds version? I don't know. Let me know. How you quantify it, Acer's kind of a big deal. I'm a fan of the character. I kind of like Grem more in terms of design, but that's because, I mean, I just like Gremlin, the shape of it more, compared to this ugly fishbowl. No, I'm just kidding. I like you a lot, Acer. It's comparison time. Country versus country. China versus Thailand. Let's go. Right off the bat here, you can see that the expressions are kind of the same, but different. The eyes are a little bit bigger now. You have the black eyeliner between the whites of the eyes and the eyelid. The gray trim around the windshield's a lot thicker, so it accentuates his eyes. I think it looks way better. I think it makes them look more real, more animated, and this is an animated movie after all. I mean, this just looks a little flat to me. Now, the one thing I will give the Chinese version is that it's not quite as glossy and shiny, and we talked about this earlier. Probably not a character that should be looking super shiny, because he is out and about. Probably has not gotten a car wash in quite some time. Probably quite stanky. But yeah, I mean, Thailand just always makes their paint look very glossy and shiny, so that's really no surprise. You have the Pacer text there on the hood. A little bit bolder, it would appear, for the Chinese, or the Thailand version rather. And it's definitely a little bit more readable on the Chinese version there. Yeah, the Thailand version bolder, and it kind of blurs the leathers together. So not a big fan of that. The bumper is still a separate plastic piece, so that's something that they kept the same. The Thailand version's wheels are a little bit more defined, which is usually, yeah, how it goes. Well, not for that Pacer text, I guess you could say. But yeah, I mean, the wheels, the spokes are a little bit more chiseled out of the hubcap, whereas here, I mean, everything kind of blends together. It doesn't look great. You do have the road hug on the walls of the tire. Slightly different, again, font or boldness to the font. And yeah, I mean, I think these tires look fine, but I do like how the wheels are a little bit more defined. I'm sure the same exact thing applied to, actually, maybe not, because Tubbs Pacer doesn't have the road hug on the tire. It's a little bit different, similar shape though. I do not have Tubbs Pacer from Thailand Loose. That was a very rare Thailand variant, all things considered, so that's the reason for that. And same applies for Vladimir Trunkov. I think I only found like 1 or 2 of them each, which is pretty low. Yeah, Acer did get a little bit cleaned up from China to Thailand here. On the left, you could see he's got way less mud and dirt around the fenders and the running board and all that. Like way cleaner here, way cleaner there. It's actually uncanny how much mud they cleaned off him, which is, I don't know, I mean, they left a fair amount, I guess, but it's still a little bit around the side view mirror there, both of which on both versions are plastic pieces. We noted in the Jonathan Gearson review that the BMW side view mirrors went from plastic to part of the main body. Now, one thing here I'm not fond of on the Thailand version is that when they went to paint the door handle there, the gray square kind of got misplaced. You could see it's a little bit up and to the left of where it should have been, and same applies for that little dot there. You can call that an error if you will, but it doesn't really apply in my book. Plus, this looks way cooler being silver, the dot not being painted on the Chinese version. So a couple differences there. Thailand did not execute very well, though. He does have this bumper plate on both. You could see the crack there between the main metal body and that plastic bumper. And again, you could just see way less dirt, detailing, rust, whatever you want to call it. And on the back here, starting on the left side, you have the AMC logo, which was the company that produced and manufactured Pacers. And again, same as that Pacer text on the front. The text is bolder, which makes it a little bit less readable. I'd say the taillights look pretty okay. The fishbowl license plate, again, blurrier, grainier, bolder, grosser, more disgusting. Sorry. The Acer is not off to a great start, I must say. I will say, though, the Ace text looks good. I think it looks better bold there on the Thailand version. My Chinese bumper is very bent looking. Looks super bent. This one's way straighter here. And also has some detailing, some dirt detailing on the bumper, which was not present on the Chinese version. So that's a plus in the Thailand category. And the windows are now completely opaque versus being transparent before. You're just looking into interior pieces in essence, but now they are just gray, completely blacked out. See, that's how it should look. That looks way better when it's like that compared to how this was all misplaced on that side. Yeah, I mean, I think he looks really solid, but I was expecting maybe a little bit better because he doesn't have any decals, right? I mean, he's got the little text pieces there, but Thailand usually excels when they don't have to put very intricate, small, detailed decals on cars. And yeah, I mean, it's not like Acer has any contingency sponsors that we have to worry about, yet they really did kind of screw up a few things. I don't like the Acer or the fishbowl license plate, the Pacer text there on the front. And yeah, I mean, I think I'm okay with him being a little less dirty. I'm probably like, yeah, that's fine. Because I mean, yeah, he's actually, I would say a lot less dirty. You could almost call this clean Acer. Released as a new version. Interesting. Very interesting stuff. I think the expression looks quite a bit better though, so that might elevate it if I think about it. I really need to think about this one a little bit more, and obviously we'll review Grem when he comes around, but kind of seeing how they coalesce together is going to be important to me. I really hope Grem is a unibody, so I hate that bumper plate right there. And as I said, I like Grem better. I love the roof rack. I love how he's kind of trapezoidal in shape. And so yeah, that's going to be a big test for me. But let's bring in this prototype of Acer that I recently acquired. So it's actually funny because I got a prototype of Jonathan Gearson and Acer here pretty much at the exact same time. The prototypes are similar. If you saw that video, you know what I'm talking about. They're both bare metal and have bright red parts. The base, though, is kind of like a tan peach color. The wheels are the same. They're just not painted yet. No text. You got the red bumper there, red side view mirrors. It's really easy to see like the different pieces and how everything's different. Like this is a separate piece. The base is all one, obviously, side view mirrors. And then the windows are transparent here on the prototypes. You can see right inside to that tan interior there and how everything kind of clicks together. It's really cool. This is a phenomenal prototype. And yeah, I'll leave the link to the seller, his eBay store, in the description below. He's got other prototypes listed as we speak if you're interested in that kind of stuff. So yeah, really cool comparison there. I also have a finished prototype that is just coated here. Well, I guess I shouldn't say it's finished. He's got a few things different. Like again, the windows are still transparent on this version. They are not opaque yet. So a lot more similar to the Chinese version of him. So I have 2 prototypes for a brand new car. That usually does not happen at all. But just so happened to happen with Acer here. And I'm not complaining about it. I feel like the outline around his eyes there is a little thicker. And the gray outline trim around the windshield's definitely darker. This is a lighter gray for sure. Interesting. So they changed up a couple things. Made those windows opaque, and yeah, so a couple stages there of Acer prototyping. What should we do next? Let's compare them. Just briefly show all the other versions of Acer. This is Acer's like variant when he was released in a late 2011-2012 2-pack with, I think this was the one with Mater with the spyglass from the deleted scene of Cars 2. Mater doesn't actually appear in Cars 2 with the little spyglass doodad, and yeah, it just is a different expression. Yeah, pretty cool that they actually did this at the time. Just imagine whenever a car got released in a 2-pack, they released it with a different expression. And that applied to Grem and Professor Z, who also got released in these Walmart exclusive 2-packs. Anywho, moving on, this is another variant, Acer in trouble, when he's in the Ye Left Turn In bar and he looks all sad and as he's about to get beat up. So yeah, Grem has this version as well. They released in that 2-pack together. You have Acer with headset here from 2014. Basically, Jonathan Gearson's little earpiece. 2012, Acer with torch, but not removable. Acer with helmet got released actually in 2012 as well in a 2-pack with Professor Z, and then got released later with Grem with helmet in 2016 in a 2-pack. So this guy actually got a couple releases, and they are different. I'm not quite sure how they're different, but the 2012 version is different from the 2016 version, and this is 2015's Acer with cart, but also weapon. Yeah, so Grem with weapon got released just by itself from the airport scene, and then a couple years later this guy got released. So it's basically him with the weapon, but he also has got the cart, and that allowed him to be released as a deluxe in one of the rare best deluxe cases ever. Doug RM, Fabulous Hudson Hornet with the Pit Crew stand, and Terry Gong were all in that case. Absolute banger of a case. And then of course you have this canceled version, which has the phenomenal expression, movable visor, but raises some questions because the expression is exactly the same as Jerome Ramped, and both are the same exact model. So let me know in the comment section below, what do you think of Thailand Acer here? Should they do more lemons, like maybe even Fred Fishbowski here, a weird kind of twin of Acer that's yellow and has pretty much the same expression as Acer? They did do Tubbs Pacer in 2023, albeit very rare. Don't forget about PD Pacer, who came out in 2013, and again, just kind of a lazy repaint of Acer with the torch. The expression is the exact same. That's a little painful to see there. But yeah, I love the lemons. I wish they did more, and at some point this year, I promise I will do a commission of a black Acer, one of the guards from the end of, not the end, but yeah, I mean, I guess you could say the end, but the Port Corsa casino scene and the London street fight and all that. I do have a black custom Grem, by the way, that I've had for a while. I need to review that, by the way, but maybe I'll wait and review them together. That'd be cool. Yeah. What the hell, Mr. Docketer? Why haven't you thought about that before? Thanks as always for watching. Really appreciate it. I'll see you soon for another video. Bye now.